Hi everyone, I'm going to do a desert camo on this gun using spray paint and sponges. I don't have 100% of an idea of exactly what I'm going to do, so I'm going to experiment a little bit and I will walk you through it and show you from beginning to the end. Desert camo is what you would use if you were in the desert, so you're going to use mostly beige, a little bit of brown, and maybe even a little bit of green. If you do a Google search, you just type in desert camo spray paint or spray paint job, you will see a lot of different ideas, and most of them are very simple. I think less is more, although you can make it a lot more complex. It's totally up to you. But if you do just a few different patterns, different colors, it will already work. You can make it as complex as you want. So in my opinion, you really can't mess this up. I really love using a sponge, and that's all I'm going to do now. So let's get started. This is a grayish shade of brown. I actually wanted to use a more auburn type of brown, but the one I had, it had a glossy finish. So like I said earlier, pretty much anything will work. And what I'm doing here is I'm painting the colors first. So I'm doing some brown here and I will do some green later. And then I will go over it with the beige so that these colors will sort of peek through. One of my favorite things about using a sponge is that you can custom make your own colors. So I have this light green and I also have this really strange, super bright green, which I would not use by itself, but using the two, I can actually create sort of a medium, brighter tone of green. I wanted something a little darker since it was going to just peek through the beige, sort of like a plant would look. You don't have to wait a very long time for the paint to dry, but you do want to give it maybe 10-20 minutes in between layers just to make sure they're not going to bleed in together or get smudged when you touch it again. What I'm doing here probably seems a little strange, but I wanted to create the look of a branch or a tree. That's why I'm using this yarn. It just happens to be camouflage. You could use any color yarn because it's just a stencil. And as you can see, I'm actually tying it over where the brown is, and then I will go over it with the beige. And then when I'm done with it, I will cut off the yarn and see what it will look like. In my mind, it's going to look like branches or trees peeking through the beige. And here I'm using the plant as I always use it with the spray paint. However, it's not working with the sponge. So I'm glad I did this because this was going to be a thing that I was going to do with my next project. And here I actually discovered that with the sponge, it's just not the same thing. If I was to spray it on top of it, these plants would look really pretty. And then the green would look like it's peeking through like an actual plant. But as you could see, I'm actually trying everything. I even dipped the plant into paint and see if it could just transfer, but it just didn't work. So now I'm just basically covering it and just allowing the green to kind of peek through in a much more subtle way than what I originally had planned. There are lots of corners and sharp little places where the sponge will just not get into. So I'm using a Q-tip, and I'm using it a lot because there are lots of those places. You could use a small paintbrush, and I have them. In my opinion, a Q-tip transfers the paint much better. I didn't want to see brush strokes on the gun. Well, this is not what I expected. I don't like the way it looks, so I'm just going to cover it up. But the only way to learn and to see if something will work is if you actually try it. If you just keep on doing the same things all the time, you're never going to grow and you're never going to learn anything. So lately, I have been doing a lot of things that didn't work out, but that's okay because now I know not to do that again. It seems like the only way to use stencils with the sponge is if you're actually using stickers. If you're holding something over it loosely, it's not going to work the same way as if you were painting it. So using a sponge will have limitations, but I want to tell you a few things why I really like using it. That by using a sponge, you don't have to buy brand new paint. I have a lot of spray paint sitting around in my garage because each time I paint something, I buy new paint because when you spray it, you want it to be even, and if your paint is old, you never know, it could come out uneven, it could be blotchy and dripping, and it could just totally mess up everything. But with using the sponge, you're actually not spraying it. You're going to spray the paint into a container, and then you're dipping the sponge in it, and then you transfer that to your gun or to your object. So in this case, you could use any kind of wood paint as long as paint is coming out. The other reason is that you can totally mix and match your colors. The final reason is that you don't have to wait as long between the paint for it to dry because you're not adding layers upon layers upon layers. You're basically, transferring that paint and you're really pushing it in it. So it actually sticks better than if you were just spraying it on the surface, and the drying time will be a lot less. There will also be a lot less chances of the paint to ripple or wrinkle or bubble. So you won't have to get frustrated and start all over or fix problems here and there. However, if you do mess up something, it is so much easier to fix with the sponge. like it, but I feel like something is missing. It needs more contrast and more layers. So I'm going over it with some lighter color and then maybe some darker, and then just kind of, see what it looks like. Maybe I need to blend the green in a little bit more, or maybe I need to make it stand out. So it's basically whatever you want, whatever looks good to you. But I feel that when you're painting a black object with beige, you really need to get in there in all those little corners and grooves, because you don't want that black to come through. It's supposed to be all beige or all earth tones. So to make it look good, you need to go at it with the Q-tips and then just add layers on top of layers. This is okay. It's not like you're spraying complete layers, like 4, 5, 6, or 7 of them. You're doing it with the sponge. So like I said earlier, you're actually pressing it on the surface. It blends better, it sticks better, so it's not like it's going to come off later. I didn't talk about the magazine, but of course it does need to be painted because the bottom sticks out. And besides that, you can paint the entire thing, but I just wanted to paint that bottom part underneath the tape. All it needs is a couple of clear coats, and that is why I'm putting that tape back on. I like the way it looks. It's not too light, not too dark, not too simple, and not too complex. I wanted to have that textured look to it. It's supposed to sort of blend in your desert environment, and I think I achieved that. I'm overall happy. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next time.